Welcome to That's Canon, a podcast talking about the canon film series and other similar movies. This is episode 34, and I'm your host, Phil.
And I'm Greg.
And Greg, there's nothing better than waking up to a steaming pot of Ginty in the morning.
A steaming pot, yes. A steaming pot of Ginty.
Because we're back with Exterminator 2,
waking up.
the 1984 action thriller that canon took over from the other people that I've already forgotten about that we talked about last week.
Random production, Image Entertainment, something like that.
Exactly. And we saw this in beautiful HD.
Yes. Blu-ray quality.
Yeah.
Only the finest for that Ginty sequel.
Yeah. So I'm interested because you really liked Exterminator.
I did, yeah. I thought it was good.
And I'm wondering, does Exterminator 2 live up or surpass Exterminator?
In my opinion, it does not surpass. I think it is about. I had the same level of entertainment value. I'll put it that way. It was a lot different, though. That's for sure. But I think it was pretty good.
I think this one is vastly superior.
Vastly superior
to the original.
Strong opinions there.
I was really enjoying this movie. Directed by Mark Buntsman. What a name.
Mark, that sounds like a fake name. That's like a fake ID name.
Exactly. He's the director. He was actually a producer for the original Exterminator film. And I wonder if he's like the champion of the film series.
the lore keeper. He's got the Exterminator series Bible
at
home, and it's got all the core world building details.
He was also an actor in the Exterminator, the first one. He was credited as Burping Ghoul.
Burping Ghoul.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I think I've got a mental image of someone, like there was like a quick cut in the first one where they were like harassing some woman, and they just cut to one guy and he just burps and they cut away. I have to go off if I can find that now.
The Mark Buntsman didn't do too much after the Exterminator 2, but everything that he did do was involved with Mario Van Peebles, who is in Exterminator 2.
Interesting collaboration, interesting partnership there.
I know, right? I guess I kind of get it. Like, there's actors who constantly work with Kevin Smith. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck are beyond what Kevin Smith can offer them in terms of a challenge.
They've left that stable, whereas Mr. Mario, I don't know if he's expanded beyond the Exterminator 2 fame, has he?
If he's ever gotten out of the gate. We will not be asking Mario Van Peebles any questions or letting him listen to the podcast now.
No, definitely not.
But the movie stars Robert Ginty again as John Eastland. And I guess, before we get too deep into the movie, he did not have that many lines in the entire film, I thought.
No, not really. I mean, he had more to talk about, more to say in the middle half, where like it slowed down a little bit, and we were seeing some scenes with him and his girlfriend, I guess. But in the very beginning, towards the beginning and towards the end, like he doesn't really have any action one-liners to speak of.
No,
which is kind of a shame.
You would think so, especially because they did capitalize quite well, I thought, on the flamethrower this time. The flamethrower was the centerpiece of the movie.
Yeah, we can get that out of the way right away, because I think that was both of our like shared criticisms of the first movie, was that we got major like flamethrower blue balls from that movie. And boy, did this one deliver on flames, not only from the flamethrower, but in fire stunts and exploding cars. This movie was majorly pyrotechnic, and it was awesome.
It was. Let's start. And then I guess even the cover, because the cover, it shows the Gint,
the Gint
with the flamethrower, and things are just burning. And it kind of is like the B movie poster of like, let's grab your attention, and you're not going to get this, but you actually did get it.
Oh yeah, it absolutely delivers on the smoldering ruins and the flames that you would see in the poster. It's awesome.
So as the movie opens, we get a really great Canon logo.
I know, right? It was almost the like full canon intro. I think the only
Yes.
thing that we were missing was the jingle, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
otherwise, we got the nice animation with the C and the other part of the logo, and it
Nice
was awesome.
flashes. How do you think they do that? Was it is it like colored pencil?
Yes, it was some poor intern color penciling in every frame by frame.
Because like I've
I
always
have no idea.
wondered that like there's no CG back then really. So how do they get these effects? It has to be just yeah, color pencil.
Yeah, I suspect they're probably just like there's probably like cells, like animation cells for each piece of the sea, and then they animated it in like you would animate a normal like an animated film, like a Disney movie.
I know
I
usually
imagine.
we vamp when there's not a lot of talk about, but for some reason I was just really captivated by that. I don't know why. I just thought to myself, how did they do this?
And we really haven't seen a lot of this logo. We're seeing it more now as we get into the mid 80s. And I suspect we'll continue to see it more and more. But in the early canon movies, I mean, we were lucky a lot of times to even see the name canon films in it
Exactly.
at all. So we're gushing about our favorite animation intro.
So the movie opens and the Gint is
The
sleeping
Meister.
and but the police band is going off and it's reporting on crimes and you have like a pretty good synth score I would say uh
Oh yeah, yeah. Definitely like that cheesy kind of B movie synthesizer score that you would expect. I mean, in parts, it almost reminded me of the first Terminator
oh yeah
score, like really, really
100%.
heavy synthesizer. It's like barely any orchestration. Yeah, it was good.
And then something keys off Robert to wake up and get to work as the exterminator. And I thought it actually looked really cool. He's got like the mask and the flamethrower. It looks very cinematic, I guess.
Yeah, he definitely has a costume in this one that he didn't really have in the first one. Like, and yeah, it is a very kind of like comic booky superhero look because he's got the kind of green fatigue jacket and it's like a welder's mask, right?
Yeah.
Which how do you even I thought those like the shading on that plate of glass on the welder's mask is really really dark. How would he even be seeing
Oh,
anything?
he wouldn't. I have worn welder's goggles before. I didn't weld. I have worn them though. You
Yeah,
cannot see anything through them.
I didn't think so either. Yeah, because I mean it's got to block out like all the the bright light from the welding arc. So I
Yep.
figured yeah he's just blind as a bat in that thing, but it looks cool. So that's all that counts.
Yes, exactly. Yes. As with any superhero or vigilante, half of the problem is just looking cool.
Is looking cool. Yeah, don't think too much about the costume. How the capes would get you killed. No capes.
Or how Michael Keaton's Batman can't turn his neck,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
right? It's one solid rubber piece.
Batman can't look to the side. Ginty can't see. It's fine. He
It's
looks
fine.
awesome.
It's all good. So then we cut to a convenience store and there's some old people getting held up by a gang. And I gotta say, I was shocked by the level of violence against these old people.
Yes.
And it
Yes.
set the tone for the rest of the movie.
It really did. It's like I feel like violence towards children and the elderly and animals are sort of like you're on that slippery slope into okay, it's too much kind of territory. And this movie goes there. It
Oh
doesn't. There's
yeah.
no animal cruelty. There's no violence against kids. But with this scene, you just not used to seeing old people gunned down with like really gruesome looking squib effects. Yeah, it was pretty shocking right off the bat.
Oh yeah. Gunned down, not just like I guess what's you can't say like leisurely gunned down.
Okay.
Um
Do, 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 do,
it's
bang.
not like it's just one shot and they're dead. So these old people are obviously run this convenience store. There's a gang
Mhm.
about 5 people holding it up, and the lead gang member goes, as the kids say, ham on the old guy and shoots him point blank like 5 times with a revolver.
Yeah, he like unloads the revolver into this poor guy.
Even the other gang members are kind of shocked, and one of them is kind of like, "What the fuck are you doing, man?" He then points the gun at the old woman and like kidney shoots her, and she
Oh yeah,
dies.
that's right. He takes that one shot, yeah, like right to the kidney on the side
Yeah,
there.
he's like, "No witnesses," bang, and kills the old lady. The gang runs out. They don't have any money. They like just freaked and ran out of the convenience store into the back alley.
Yeah, they didn't. I mean, they didn't have masks on. They didn't have like a duffel bag where they emptied the register or they were like stealing like beers or anything. They just kind of killed the owners and booked.
They're like, cheese it.
Cheese it, but they didn't cheese it very far.
No, they didn't, because waiting in the alley was Gintmaster,
The
the executioner. They immediately start shooting him, which is great. But they shoot him in the head, and he's got the metal welder's mask, so I guess it's also bulletproof, so it just ricochets off.
Yeah.
And then the executioner unleashes flaming justice onto them. You get full flame stunt. Like, there's two people fully engulfed in flames running around in this alley. It looked really cool.
Oh yeah, it was awesome. Really, really well lit. I mean, and yeah, like you said, it's not just, one of those cheats. Oh, the guy's arm or his back is on fire. Like, they are full body inflamed, like you said, and it's pretty impressive, because that's like, I know we already said it, but like that's the kind of shot we were expecting and hoping for in the entire first movie. And all he really does is ever threaten a guy in that one. So to have a twofer kill with the flamethrower within the first 5 minutes of this movie,
yes,
that was awesome. Off to a great start.
The only, I guess, cheesy part of it, as the guys are running away down the alley, it kind of does like a quick shot to the dead older couple, and then when it comes back to the alley, they're like burnt skeletons.
Yeah, the flames really worked quick, didn't they? Yeah, they look like Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru in Star Wars.
I was gonna say they look like after the Martians from Mars Attacks shoot someone, they just turn into skeletons.
Like the bright green colored skeletons. Yeah.
The film cuts to the gang hangout, and they have multiple televisions going on, kind of like the Shredder and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or the Joker in Batman 1989, where it's just the news playing on like 7 different TVs because it looks cinematic, but it doesn't make any sense to do that.
Yeah, it's like, I guess maybe they just stole all those TVs and they want to get their money's worth. They're gonna fence them later.
They have to test them out to make sure that they work.
Only the finest quality stolen TVs for these. So they're not the ghetto ghouls in this movie, we should point out. It's a different unrelated gang called like the X Gang or something.
The X Gang, yeah. Very unintimidating gang, I would say. The X Gang. They don't have like matching uniforms. They seem very disjointed. They're a gang in name only.
Yeah, it's not unlike the ghetto ghouls, which kind of had an aesthetic, like a punk rock aesthetic. But yeah, I guess in this one, it's all their leader, Mr. X, whatever they call him.
Mario Van Peebles plays X. Mario Van Peebles is probably the least intimidating gang leader ever. He is a very handsome looking individual. He has a baby face and he looks very well kept. I wouldn't be intimidated by him at all if I saw him.
No, that's a really good point. Like, I think I couldn't put my finger on why he wasn't intimidating, but I think you're right. I think he's just too handsome of a guy.
Yeah,
I guess that's got to be what it is. He's just like he doesn't look grizzled enough.
If Ginty was the gang leader, I would believe it, because Ginty's ugly.
That weird 13 or 30 look.
Exactly. But Mario Van Peebles, no. But yeah, the X Gang. Mario Van Peebles is the leader, and his brother's in it as well. And they're now aware that after a hiatus, the executioner is back and disseminating justice, which is kind of weird to think that at the end of the first one, Robert Ginty apparently hangs up the flamethrower. And then he only returns because obviously the sequel's made, but nothing spurs him back into action, right? Like, let's say you were in a movie, Greg, and at the end of it, you are now the hero, the vigilante. The second one comes around. If there is a moment in between you not disseminating justice. Something has to spur you back into action, which generally would be like your friend dying, right? Like, oh, Phil, you died,
Yeah.
and now I have to get vengeance again.
Which is what they do in the all, as far as I know, all the Death Wish sequels, which is
Yeah.
always like Paul Kersey in the beginning of the movie, someone like his buddy or his friend or his cousin or his grandma or his aunt, someone close to him gets gunned down in the very beginning, and that's the inciting incident for him to go, buck wild and kill the entire neighborhood. You
Exactly.
don't get that in this one. We are introduced to Ginty, like you said. He's just kind of asleep with the police scanner running, and I guess it just took that one special kind of crime, the killing of the sweet old bodega couple.
I was gonna say,
That's
it's
all it
like
took.
there's some old people being killed right now. And he's like, okay, that's it. Time
Time to
to
Gint up.
execute. But yeah, so we cut to Ginty. He's in a bar, and that's when we meet his love interest for the film. The bar isn't a strip club, but it's not quite a go-go bar. But there
Yeah,
is a woman just dancing very sexily on
kind
on
of
a
strippery.
dance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like she's not taking her clothes off, but it's not. Yeah, it's not like a go-go dancer.
What, what's int- what was interesting about this scene though is you obviously have guys fawning over this woman on stage, and for some reason she looks at the bar and goes, "That sack of lumpy bread, that's what I'm gonna go home with."
The Gint.
The Ginty is just he can't. I just don't see him pulling women like this because she is
No.
fairly attractive.
Yeah, yeah.
She is Caroline. She's also credited as a friend of Eastland in the movie, which is kind of weird. Is
What?
played
I didn't
by
notice that.
Deborah Geffner. She's actually a professional ballet dancer.
I had a feeling she was a little too good at dancing, and they showcased her dancing a little too much.
Oh yeah,
It's like she must have been a dancer who they got to play this role. Like she's an actress second, just like the girl from Breakin'.
yes, yep.
Yeah,
The girl
definitely
from
makes
Breakin'
sense.
is a dancer first, an actress second. They need someone to make this side story to be believable.
Which, yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense to cast that way in Breakin'. It does not make a lick of sense in this one because this
None.
whole their whole side plot goes nowhere. But
As Robert Ginty and his girlfriend go home and kiss, we cut back to Mario Van Peebles. So the first time that we saw Mario Van Peebles, he had like his hair was kind of like a mop top type deal. But now when we cut back to Mario Van Peebles, he has like the kid and play hairdo where his hair is kind of straight up.
yeah, that kind of
And
like flat, like eraser top look.
yeah, and obviously where he transported himself into a Mad Max alternate dimension because now he's wearing fucking shoulder pads
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
football player.
But they're like made out of like tire rubber almost. It
Yeah,
looks like it's a really
it's
cool costume. But do gang members really dress like this? It's definitely very costumey.
exactly. And it's just so weird because he looked like a normal dude in the first scene and now he looks like he's a character in a movie.
I mean, someone's got to step up to the exterminator, and he's gonna dress the part.
Exactly. He's trying to rouse his gang by saying he is the leader of this gang and whatever he wants he's going to get, and his gang is going to get him what he wants, right?
Yes,
They're
we're
going
gonna
to buy
take
the
over the
drugs,
streets.
they're going to take over the streets, and they're going to take over the city.
Yeah, this is the runner up for quote of the week happens in this like really long hype up speech. He says, "We're gonna buy enough magic powder to cover the city in a
Yeah.
blizzard of power." It's
Magic powder.
oh, a magic powder blizzard.
uh
Such an imaginative guy.
and so they go out, and I will say the scene was it went on far too long. If there was
Yeah,
any scene that could have been cut down, it definitely was this rousing speech that he's giving.
for
um
sure.
but they go out to hit the town, and they rob an armored car, and I think the action scene that plays out here is pretty good. They all have like assault rifles. I don't know how they've gotten them, but his gang is
Mhm.
already pretty well armed. And then a police
Oh yeah.
helicopter comes in and they just shoot it and it blows up.
Yeah, this is all in the span of probably like a minute. It's like not only was the armored car hilariously easy for them to take down, but they blow up a police helicopter with what looks like a flare gun.
Yes.
It's awesome, and it immediately explodes. And it's weirdly gruesome too. Like we got like we were already shocked by that how they killed the old bodega couple. But when they bring the helicopter down, we like a couple of the thugs that like walk up to it and are laughing at it, and we get like a quick cut of like people burning alive in the helicopter like cockpit.
Oh
Like
yeah, it's
there's a guy
great.
doing a fire stunt. It's a really great effect, but it's like wow, they really ratcheted it up in this movie in terms of violence.
Uh, Meanwhile, a little bit down the road, a garbage truck driver named BG sees the events unfold, and he decides to intervene.
Yes.
BG is played by Frankie Faison, and I know this guy as the character Barney from he's in a bunch of the Hannibal movies. He's actually in all of the movies that Hannibal's in. He was in Manhunter, Silence of the Lambs, Red Dragon, Hannibal.
Really?
He's one of those. He's one of those actors where
Yeah,
like,
like a that guy. I knew he looked so familiar. I couldn't place him though.
yep, he's in quite a bit of different things. He's in Coming to America, Mississippi Burning, uh, yeah, just a lot of stuff. He is
Awesome.
constantly acting, and I think he's a really good character. You immediately, at least for me, kind of just you see him. He has a very personable look to him.
Yeah, he's got a good. He definitely plays a good like a good guy sidekick for
Yeah.
sure. Very affable.
So, yeah. So the gang takes the driver of the armored car, and they like, I don't want someone to say they put him like on a crucifix, but they essentially like hold his arms and legs out in an X and tie
Yeah.
him down onto poles, and then they take him into the subway. And everyone in the gang now has flaming torches for some reason.
Yeah. It very we can't understate the weird culty turn that the movie takes at this point. Because yeah, it's like they're practically marching him into the subway with all the like these torch bearing guys. It's like a cult procession almost.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
And for some reason, Mario Van Peebles has lost his shoulder pads and now he's just bare chested with suspenders. And their gang has exponentially grown too. Like when the first assault was maybe like 10 people, but now there's probably like 40 or 50
Oh yeah,
people.
it's huge. And there's a bunch of ladies here now too.
Yeah.
Their whole
It's
posse.
it's really interesting. They spray paint an X on the armored car driver, and they're kind of ripping up the tracks too. They're gonna lay this dude down on the tracks and let a let a subway car right over him. Also, really confusing because Mario Van Peebles has an X now for some reason on his chest. They don't show him putting it on. He
Oh,
just
interesting.
it just cuts. He has an X, and like one of the white gang members has an X on his forehead. So there must have been some cut scene or some continuity errors here.
Yeah, I'll say I didn't good spot. I didn't even notice.
Uh, but they throw the guy down on the tracks, and he gets electrocuted because he's touching the third rail. So he's getting
Yep.
electrocuted, and then the metro car runs over him.
Oh, thank God for that Metro car. Put him out of this poor guy out of his misery.
As it happens, Mario Van Peebles makes an X with his arms and then holds his arms up in an X. And then,
So weird.
and like, he is all into him being X.
Oh yeah, very theatric. And again, I did not see this weird kind of cult ritual thing happening in this movie, but it's still cool.
It is, yeah. Meanwhile, they cut to one of the gang members in a tree,
It's his
and
brother. It's X's brother.
which they like never really, besides like a throwaway line
Yeah,
before and after, you would never tell that this guy was his brother.
yeah, you'd have to be really paying attention.
And I was paying attention, and I was still kind of like, "Oh, that was his brother."
Hey,
He's just like chilling up in a tree, And then Robert Ginty comes out of nowhere and he's like, hey, and he just flame throws him.
And then walks away.
Yeah.
Well, my work here is done.
This could be just I mean, granted, the guy is holding an Uzi in a tree, but it could just be a guy in a tree, and Robert Ginty just blows him away with a flamethrower.
I guess, yeah, maybe Ginty saw the gun, and I don't know. he just murdered some guy in the tree. And again, awesome fire stunt, because we see like they light the whole tree on fire too with the stuntman in it.
Yeah,
pretty impressive.
There's no tie up between Robert Ginty finding the rest of the gang or anything.
Nope.
It just cuts to the next day, and BG is driving his garbage truck, and we immediately know BG is a good guy because he stops to throw a dog some food, and that means BG's a good person.
That means BG's a goner.
Yeah, that also means BG's gonna fucking die.
80s movies.
We see him pick up some trash. We see Robert Ginty sell a watch for some reason to make some money. And then BG and Robert Ginty see each other, and I guess they're friends.
Yeah, that was a little confusing. And we see he like gets in the truck, he gets in the garbage truck, and they're kind of driving around while he's on his garbage route, I guess. And he takes out BG takes out some dog tags, and I was like, wait, was he supposed to be the same war buddy from the first movie?
Because he has a scar on his neck and stuff.
Yeah, he's got the scar. He's got the dog tags. They seem like old like war buddies. Did they just retcon the part where he pulled the guy's plug in the first movie?
Oh yeah, that's right. He died. I was about to say maybe his paralyzation is better now.
I had that same thought, and I was like, wait a second, Ginty killed him in the first one. He euthanized him.
Oh man, yeah, that's kind of weird, huh?
Yeah, I have no idea, but apparently they know each other, and maybe just unrelated. Oh, he also happened to be in Vietnam. Just I don't know.
So they kind of meet up and they talk, and we realize that they're friends, and then we cut to Mr. X and his cult doing a deal with the Italian mob. Again, all of the X cult have flaming torches, and the best henchman wears roller skates.
Yes, the dollar store Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes. The Italian mob is equally as confused as to why everyone has flames.
I forget what he says, but doesn't the mob boss like make fun of them?
Yeah,
he make fun of all the theatrics and gimmicky costumes that they're wearing. It was that actually got like a chuckle out of me. Even they know it's stupid.
So Mario Van Peebles is going to be buying drugs from the mob. And for some reason, they can't give him a taste of the drugs right now. They have to do a drop off the next day. So then it cuts to the henchman on the roller skates doing a breakdancing routine in the rain. So we get a quick breakdance, a break-in moment. It was so weird.
We got to talk about that a little bit. So this is how like a couple years after Break-In, right?
I would say it was a year, because remember, Break-In came out in 84 and Break-In 2 came out in 85.
So this was like right after Break-In had gone big.
Oh yeah.
Were they just did what's their faces Golan Globus, like did they just think, oh, that was a big hit, we're gonna shove this breakdancing crap into every single movie we do?
It's gotta be,
because people want it.
Until it's not popular, it is popular, right?
It's so obviously kind of wedged into here for no reason.
So do you think, because there's only 2 more movies between now and Break-In 2, do you think Ninja 3 and Missing in Action have a breakdancing scene?
I might take that bet, yeah.
If Chuck Norris fucking breakdance in Vietnam and Missing in Action
to dodge bullets,
it's we stop the podcast right there.
This where work here is done.
Yes. But yeah, it must just because it made money, it's popular, and I guess maybe it gets people talking. I mean, we're talking about it, but we're talking about it because we're watching the entire film library, and we're going, why?
And it's also confusing as shit because it has it feels like filler.
It is. I think it's just one of those things. There's a couple moments in this movie where I'm like, the only reason this is in here is because they didn't have enough movie.
Yep.
Unlike the last movie where I'm going, where are the scenes that they obviously filmed that aren't in here? This one is just, this is only here because the script was 60 pages, right?
Got to pad the runtime, and honestly, that's my biggest complaint about this. I mean, I'll tease my end thoughts a little bit here, but this one compared to the first one, which is why I don't think this one necessarily exceeds the first one, is because there's a lot of filler, and this stupid breakdance scene with the dropping, the mob guy dropping off a taste of the magic powder. It's overly padded, it's overly extended, and it's there to get you to 90 minutes, and it's really obvious.
Which says something because the movie's only 90 minutes. So the fact that we're going this 90-minute film has too much padding.
Has too much filler. Yeah, says a lot.
But I will say, I'm not going to shit on the guy. He is really good on those skates.
Oh, yeah. As are the break dancers we get later in the movie, also wedged in for no reason, but they're great dancers.
Yeah.
Won't take that away from them.
So he gets the magic powder. The one of the mob people just nonchalantly drops it in his hat that he's getting tips from people on the streets.
Kind of a clever idea. I mean, it's kind of interesting idea.
Then he goes back to Mario Van Peebles and he gives it to him like an offering. Peebles grabs him by like the nape of the neck and he's like, "You've really pleased me," and like pats him on the head. It's a very sexually charged moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mario does that to a couple of his like underlings throughout the rest of the movie. I don't know if that was what he was going for, but yeah, it's at least an interesting twist on the classic, lead gang guy.
Exactly. Now we finally cut back to the Gint and his friend. It's nighttime and they're still driving in that fucking garbage truck.
Yeah, Ginty's been riding with him like all day. I mean, I guess he got nothing better to do.
And they exchange out at night. Yeah, I know, right? They exchange like a quick quip of words, and we see the roller skate guy again. He comes out of nowhere. He just picks up a woman and skates away with her. He like kidnaps a woman randomly, right?
Yeah, on roller skates, no less. And I mean, I guess it makes for a quick getaway.
They take her back to the X cult's lair where they're going to inject her with the heroin. It's heroin, right? Do you inject heroin?
I assume it's heroin because they're like mainlining it, but I guess they don't really say. They just magic powder. Ooh.
Magic powder. I guess maybe because I'm not really into drugs. I don't understand really what they're doing. They got the spoon and it's bent.
All you hard drug users out there, send us an email and let us know how accurate the drug use. Tell us what drug this is.
If it is heroin, and so how do you use heroin? I'm at drugabuse.gov right now.
It's a .gov. It's legit.
You can inject it, you can sniff it, you can snort it, and you can smoke it. This thing is like the bicentennial man of drugs.
So versatile. No wonder everyone likes it.
Some people mix heroin and crack cocaine, called speedballing.
Speedballing. Wow.
I think that's what killed Chris Farley. What are the effects of heroin? So this is the reason why people do it, Greg. Heroin enters the brain rapidly and binds to the opioid receptors on cells located in many areas, especially those involved in feelings of pain and pleasure, and in controlling heart rate, sleeping, and breathing. You can get dry mouth, warm skin, heavy feelings in the arms, nausea, vomiting, severe itching, clouded mental function, going, and this is in quotes, on the nod. Yeah, a back and forth state of being conscious and semi-conscious.
Sounds like a good time, man.
I don't get what the purpose of this is.
I mean, I guess what you just described kind of makes sense now because I was wondering so they inject this poor girl that they kidnapped to, I guess, test the sample to make sure it's like good. It's the good shit.
Which is insane. Why can't they just find a junkie?
Yeah, exactly. Like someone who's willing to go like, hey, free drugs? Sure. But no, they kidnap this poor lady, but she's she just like passes out.
Yeah.
Which I guess he just mentioned like, oh, like you could go conscious and semi-conscious. I guess the symptom or the effect that it has is realistic in that way.
And it wouldn't be canon if one of the people, after injecting her and she's about to pass out, he's like, can we have sex with her now?
Yeah, but good for this movie for not going there.
And Mario's
like, nah.
Yeah, he gets very upset at that. He's like, we don't rape. Good
we're
on
scary.
Peebles.
We're a scary cult gang that will like fry people alive and and shock them to death on a third rail of a subway. But we don't rape people. We've got standards.
Yeah. Also, long-term effects. Just want to say this: sexual dysfunction in men. So, if you are listening to That's Canon and you're taking heroin, your penis might stop working. So don't do it.
Don't do drugs, kids.
We cut back to the Gint and Faison in the garbage truck, still fucking driving. They're not picking up trash, Greg. They're just driving.
Just driving around.
The character BG talks about how he's his own boss and how he loves being a trash man. Yet, are trash people consolidate or single? What's the word that I'm looking for?
They're like independent contractors.
Yeah, are they their own independent contractor?
Yeah, I was wondering that too. Like I'm assuming he even like works for the city or like the private waste management company, and he's got a route that he's got to do every day, and he has a boss. I don't know what that was all about.
Yeah, neither do I. He just seems like he just indiscriminately picks up trash wherever he wants to.
he just wanders the city in his own privately held garbage truck and picks up garbage. He likes it.
They eventually get to the club that Ginty went to earlier in the film. BG is quite the ladies' man as he immediately picks up two women. And he's like, hey, meet my friends.
Immediately.
But Robert Ginty is captivated by the dancer. His girlfriend of sorts, even though I don't think they're really official.
I guess, yeah.
And it cuts to BG going, I'm going to leave with my ladies and get some breakfast. And then it's Robert Ginty and his girlfriend in the garbage truck, and Ginty is trying to drive it, and he can't drive stick.
That's such a weird thing to do. Like this garbage guy, he just hands over his garbage truck to let them drive around it. Like they're driving together, and then he sees Ginty and the dancer kind of having some chemistry. He wants to leave them alone. He doesn't want to get between them. So he just leaves them the garbage truck. He gets out on some random street in the middle of the night and lets them drive off with it.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
Ginty and his girlfriend, they drive to her place, but unbeknownst to them, the X gang goes, hey, that's the garbage truck that saw us hijack the armored car earlier in the film. Mm-hmm. We got to go do something about this. And they kind of see the apartment area where Ginty and his girlfriend are making love. And they kind of, I guess, visually notate down where they live and get that information. But the scene doesn't really go anywhere with the gang. They just sort of leave.
Yeah, I think what they were going for, because I think we see a patrol car, a cop roll up right after they tail a garbage truck to the apartment. So I think maybe they were intending to jump them or to barge into the apartment, but then the cop came up, so they were just, we'll come back later. Remember where they live, we'll come back later, and then they just cheese it.
And then we get like a 3-minute love scene. I put that in quotes. It's really just the girlfriend showing off her boobs.
Yeah. No one wants to see Ginty get to second base with this poor actress.
People barely want to see Ginty.
I will give this movie credit because at least you know that it's a canon movie. They're going to find an excuse to put in some boobs because that's what they do in these cheesy movies.
Yep.
At least they went with like a love scene and not a rape scene as the excuse.
There is no rape in this movie.
Nope. None whatsoever. Very refreshing, which is, God, that's sad. That's the kind of crap that we've been watching on this podcast. And we're like, well done, movie. You didn't rape anybody. Thank you. It's a low bar, man.
Yeah, it's a low bar. No rape. That already means it gets one more star.
Oh God.
We get to the next day. The girlfriend is dancing, showing off to Ginty. She's doing a really good job with ballet and whatnot, and Robert
Yeah.
Ginty seems to be enjoying it. There's a little chemistry between them as they're talking, and then we get the next breakdance scene, which
Yes.
the girlfriend character is dancing with the guys and having a good time, but Robert Ginty seems a little off put by the breakdancers.
Yeah, he's just over there in the corner, like stuffing his face at the hot dog cart while she's
Yeah.
dancing with these guys. This is like another scene that just feels like filler. It just goes
Oh,
on way too long.
100%. I expected Shabadoo to show up. So,
Wow.
and this is the other, like, I guess this is the other weird part of the scene earlier where the gang sees where Robert Ginty and his girlfriend are, because his girlfriend goes into a restroom and just randomly the X gang is there. They're in the stalls of the female bathroom.
Oh yeah, they didn't really set that up. You see
No.
them kind of stalking them from afar, and then all of a sudden, yeah, they've been apparently a different. Maybe it's like different gang members, and they were walkie-talking to them.
I
Hey,
need
go
to
hide in
see
that
that
stall.
then. I need to see that scene because it's just three guys, Mario Van Peebles, all coordinating, opening the door at the same time,
Yeah.
uh, and then attacking the girlfriend. They're chasing her through the park, and they beat the shit out of her. Robert Ginty and a police on horseback are trying to get to the girl in time to save her life. The gang runs away, and we realize that the girlfriend character is like paralyzed now. They beat her
Yeah,
so
they
bad.
when they were doing that chase after they run her out of the public bathroom, we get this slow motion shot of one of the gang members kind of like doing a diving swing at her legs, and he just Nancy Kerrigan's this poor girl
Yeah,
right in the ankles, like both ankles simultaneously. And I guess that is a paralyzing injury.
I don't know. I mean, I feel for the girl. This is I guess the emotional part of the movie, because for the next like 10
Yeah.
or so minutes, there's not a lot of action. It's just Robert Ginty and BG trying to help out the girlfriend, uh, get her to dance and move and exercise. And then at night, Robert Ginty's listening to the police band radio, just waiting for, I guess, action to happen, right?
Yeah, I get he's listening to it again because he wants to. I guess he's like keeping the keeping his ear to the ground for when that gang is active again, so he can go get revenge. I'm assuming.
Yeah. And then there's a really weird cut, like quick cut scene of Mario Van Peebles. He's in a elevator, and we see the elevator going up, and he's just doing push-ups. Do you remember that? It's like a
Oh,
40-second scene.
is that the one where he's doing the one arm push-ups?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember thinking it actually looks like he's doing that. That was kind of impressive, but yeah, like why are we seeing this? It's not like a part of a getting ready for the big fight montage. So
Exactly.
hmm.
So it's kind of interspersed cuts of Robert Ginty killing random drug people and Mario Van Peebles exercising and Robert Ginty and BG helping the now crippled girlfriend character try to walk.
Yeah,
Eventually, BG and Ginty decide that they're going to team up, and BG's like, I got just the thing for it. And he has one Uzi, and he's like, this is all we need.
been saving this for a rainy day. Which, by the way, where were they when they like? Where was he stashing that? Because it was right by where he fed the stray dog,
Yeah, I
and
have
it was
no
like
idea.
he had to like use a crane to move a big piece of metal, and like the guns were hidden underneath.
It's such an odd like set piece. Why not just go like, hey, let's just go to my place. I have guns there.
Yeah, yeah. Like I've got it in a chest under my bed from the
Yeah,
war. Like
it's
it took 2 seconds.
and it probably would have saved them like $1 million or
Yeah.
something like that.
But hey, but Phil, how else are you going to get a movie to 90 minutes?
Exactly. We have to pad this thing out. Because then we get like a 2-minute scene of just the garbage truck that now has a snowplow in the front of it.
Yeah,
It's just driving.
driving the streets. What's I actually kind of like that. I thought that they clearly went out in the middle of the night to get these shots, and so it's like the really like the garbage truck going through empty streets, and you get nice lighting from the street lights and the skyline. And it looked kind of cool, but again, it was just filler because it goes on way too long.
It does. They're kind of just looking at the New York night suburban life, right?
Yes.
Eventually they get up to a gang and they bottleneck them in underneath a tunnel. BG is beating the shit out of people. Robert Ginty is beating the shit out of people. And then they kidnap one of the gang members. And as they're trying to pump him for information, he's the to the gang members, credit, he's not giving anything up. They put him in the garbage truck and they start to like close it on him. It looks really cool.
Yeah, it's an awesome scene. I'm glad they at least use the like that's what you do when you've got a garbage truck in an action movie.
Yes.
You threaten them, or you put someone in the compactor. It's perfect.
He eventually gives up the information, and then they don't kill him, but they still keep him locked up in the back of the garbage truck. And now for the next 30 minutes, the last 30 minutes, it's a running gag of this guy eating trash and stuff.
Yeah, they occasionally will cut back to him and he's just like eating spoiled yogurt or like nibbling on an old hot dog or something. It's like, this poor guy, he's still in that truck.
That's what I said. Because like after like the first 15 minutes of him being in there, I kind of forgot about it. But then they cut back and he's still in there eating like rotten cottage cheese.
Yeah, I thought it was like a flashback at first, but like, no, he's still in there. I forgot about that guy.
And so they get the information from the guy and they have to go to the docks. That's where the drug deal is going to go. That's where Mario Van Peebles is going to get the magic powder and the Italians are going to get their money.
Right.
But not before the Gint and BG can do something about it. And we see Mario Van Peebles and the Italians making the drug deal. Mario Van Peebles is doing his best to try to seem intimidating, which he just clearly isn't.
No, yeah, this is where we get our quote of the week because he's trying so desperately to seem intimidating. We get this great line when I think one of the mobsters henchmen is like counting the money, and the Mario is staring down the Godfather, and the Godfather guy says, "You street boys, you've really grown up." And Mario Van Peebles replies with, "I am the streets."
Yeah.
It was like a perfect Judge Dredd kind of line. I am the law.
I am the law.
The law.
It is a very just unintimidating moment.
Yeah.
Right.
And again, maybe I am the streets coming from a more like a bigger, taller, more grizzled looking actor would sound cool, but it just doesn't. It doesn't work from this guy. I don't know what it is.
I just think it all comes down to that baby face, right?
Yeah.
He just doesn't look intimidating.
No, not scary enough.
As the deal is about to be solidified, Robert Ginty and BG plow in with their garbage truck. And this is my favorite part of the entire film. One of the Italians essentially go like, "Oh, I guess everything's getting messed up," and shoots the roller skater right in the head. And he falls dead into Mario Van Peebles' arms.
No.
And I was just kind of like, that got an audible wow out of me. I know we just saw people get burned up in helicopters and we saw people electrocuted and people burned alive. But I think the point blank nonchalant headshot definitely was kind of a out of left field moment for me. I was like, wow, that's really impressive that they just did it.
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's every once in a while the quick gunshot executions somehow just have a bigger impact because we're so desensitized to gun violence.
Yeah.
In all of these movies and just film like media in general whenever occasionally just the way that it's done, the casualness to it, it has that impact. I know what you mean.
Ensues is probably the laziest gunfight I've ever seen in a movie. It's just a lot of people swinging guns back and forth and
just spraying, mindlessly into the air.
Yeah, and going yar. Like, yeah.
You actually hear someone say "yar" like a pirate?
They might as well be, they're just kind of like making war sounds in quotes.
Ah,
The drugs get stranded in the middle of the gunfight between the Italians and the X gang. BG runs out there and grabs it. Now, BG's toast because he fucking ran out in the middle of a gunfight.
What an idiot.
And this is where you know what? This is where the R comes in because Mario Van Peebles jumps out from behind a pillar and goes, yeah, and just lights up BG. BG,
Oh yeah.
he gets like 20 bullets put in him, right?
Yeah, all in slow motion, like really great, again, great squib effects. But yeah, he just unloads a clip into this poor garbage truck guy who we all know and love now in slow motion. Oh,
He
sad.
falls back into Robert Ginty's lap and he goes, I guess you got the truck now, and then dies. BG's last thoughts were about his garbage truck going to the Gint.
I tell you what, that's dedication to a craft.
A
garbage craft.
Garbage craft. That's
garbage
executioner
craft.
too. Semicolon. Garbage craft.
Garbage craft.
Ginty, he pulls out a grenade from nowhere and kind of, I wouldn't say tosses it. He more or less just drops it behind him and it blows up the Italians in their car as he's leaving the docks.
Yeah. Which I love. Remember that episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where they buy that fragment, that same kind of like old Vietnam era fragmentation grenade.
Yes.
From the pawn shop, and they go to try to blow up the car with it, and it just kind of like, and it kind of like pops in the back seat, and that's it. Like nothing happens to the car; it's barely damaged at all. That episode has ruined me for all action movies that use grenades that way.
Oh yeah.
Because it just, I like laughed out loud. Like that grenade would nowhere near come close to blowing up that car.
The explosion is 80s action explosion, right?
Yeah.
It's so great.
Absolutely.
But Robert Ginty starts to panic because he realizes that they didn't kill the other gang. And he calls up his girlfriend, who's dead in her apartment. We see her naked, and she has an X on her back. Robert Ginty doesn't know that she's dead, though. He just, I guess, assumes that she is because she didn't answer the phone.
I guess so, because we don't see what we need is that we needed that scene where he calls her, she doesn't pick up, he gets worried, books it to the apartment, and has some emotional scene where he finds her dead, and then he gets angry, and then we get the scenes that we got after this. But we didn't get that. He just knows instinctively somehow that she's dead.
Then we get the montage of him rigging up the garbage truck with stuff. We don't get to see what stuff. We just see like tires and metal and other shit. And intercut in this montage of badassness is the guy in the fucking in the actual garbage truck eating trash.
He's in the truck through the entire like gearing up for the final battle montage where he's decking out the truck in guns and all this other crap, and this poor guy is still in there just eating rotten hamburgers.
It undercuts the badassness of the scene, of what they're trying to do when you have such comedic moments. The juxtaposition is too great.
Yeah, it is like it's cut like a comedy movie. Where you get this, this awesome montage, which is generally kind of cool. I always like those montages. But then, they just cut it off at the knees with this poor, sad-looking guy. He's given up on life. He's accepted his fate as the garbage dweller.
Yep, he's the trash man.
He's the trash man.
Ginty at the end of the montage unlocks the I guess the little hatch for the garbage area.
Yeah.
And he's purposely put out the executioner outfit for the guy to see, and he kind of starts putting it all together. He's like, hey, the guy who rides in the garbage truck has the flamethrower. He is the executioner. And he runs back to Mario Van Peebles to tell him this. and we get like again, we just had a montage, but now we get like a couple quick moments of Ginty arming up. And like, okay, we just had that. We don't really need to see this again. But
Yeah.
um the guy who's been stuck in the garbage truck goes to Mario Van Peebles and kind of confesses everything. And he's like, I'm sorry, I should have been there. I know a lot of people died. But he tells him that it's the executioner, and Peebles is like, oh, you did a good job. And then he just kills him. Peebles just like snaps his neck.
Like it's tissue paper. Poor
Uh,
guy.
then somehow Peebles knows to go to a place where his drugs and money are going to be. But Ginty's obviously there in the garbage truck. And we get to finally see all the things that he's been putting together. He can control guns now through levers and pulleys inside the cab of his garbage truck.
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, it's kind of cool, but it definitely strains believability how he's got that kind of enough precision on those cables and pulleys to target individual gang members who are running around.
Maybe if we saw Ginty do stuff like this earlier or throughout the film, it'd be more believable, but we're just supposed to go, oh, he can do this.
Yep, that's just a thing. Yeah, that's a good point. We need maybe like one quick cut during that montage where we see him doing a little target practice with the turret guns, hitting like beer bottles or something off of a concrete wall. That would have all. That's all I would have taken.
Or maybe like him reading a book, something.
How does one target things with guns on the side of a garbage truck?
Yeah. But he just starts laying waste to Mario Van Peebles' gang. And the rest, like I want to say it's like 5 minutes of the this is just him inside the cab of the garbage truck, just nonchalantly blowing people up. Yep. And then it's the gang members just act like idiots throughout the rest of the movie. Remember the scene? It's a crane is holding up a vat of gas, and the gang members like crouch up together and get the gas poured on them, and then Ginty catches them on fire.
And just tortures them. I mean, I feel like you would know when you've been drenched in gas because it smells so pungent.
Yeah, and it probably burns.
Yeah, it probably hurts. Yeah, it's in your eyes and everything. Like, why would you not just, oh crap, I know what's happening. I'm just gonna book it. Like they see Ginty up there with a flamethrower in his hands, like a lit flamethrower, and they just stare at him until he tortures them.
Yep, pretty much. We have to get rid of all of the bad guys so we can have the last 13 minutes be the showdown between Mario Van Peebles and Robert Ginty.
Is it really 13 minutes?
It is.
Jeez. I mean, yeah, I was going to say this again because this whole final battle, especially this last chase between Ginty and X, it goes on way too long.
Way too long. And Mario Van Peebles is hamming it up throughout the entire time. He's like, he's like laughing like a giddy school child. And honestly, Robert Ginty was probably barely in this movie because he's wearing the mask throughout this whole last scene. It could be someone totally different. It could just be a stuntman.
It wouldn't surprise me that they did, because this is probably the most we've seen his character move through the environment in the movie compared to like all the rest of the rest of the runtime. He's climbing up ladders and jumping into pits and doing action movie things. It would not surprise me if they just replaced him with this much cheaper to employ stunt guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, isn't it weird to think that there's someone cheaper than Robert Ginty?
Ginty's your star, man.
Oh yeah, he's something.
Like a case of Bud Light and a pack of Marlboros, and that's it.
But yeah, the chasing goes on for way too long, and there's no real reason to go through it beat by beat. It ends in a moment where Mario Van Peebles is climbing some scaffolding in this warehouse area, and he gets to the bag that he assumes has the drugs in it, and he's giving a speech about how one day, sooner or later, he's going to get to Robert Ginty and kill him. And as he opens up the bag, there's a bomb in it, but we don't see it. We just immediately see Mario Van Peebles blow up.
He turns into a dummy, and then
thank you.
Fire.
Why would you have a tracking shot of the worst dummy on fire?
It's yeah. I'm not sure if you saw this too, and I might have been just imagining it, but I feel like I saw the legs go all floppy,
Oh
like
yeah.
whatever was propping them up kind of like broke, and then the shoes came off.
Yes.
It looked terrible. It was
You
so
did.
obviously a dummy.
Out of like all the action beats in the movie that did so good, why fuck it up at the end there with like just the worst dummy in the world? I mean, yeah,
Terrible
you're
dummy. Yeah.
it immediately looks like there's nothing in the legs. It's just jello.
Yeah.
Um, I will
But I feel
say,
like it's no,
oh,
go
go ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is as bad as the dummy is, it does get redeemed. I mean, the explosion is cool. I wish we'd seen the bomb first, but whatever. It explodes. He turns into a flaming dummy, whatever. He flies off the side of the scaffolding, and it's immediately redeemed by some really quick flashing shots. I wish we got more of it, but it was this really awesome makeup effect of like a much better looking dummy, I assume, kind of impaled on like a metal spike in
Yes.
the warehouse. I sent you a screenshot of that.
Yep.
Maybe there's a way we can like put it with the podcast or a link to it or something, but it is really, it's like the best looking makeup effect in the entire movie. And yeah, it's like this charred up corpse of him having fallen off the scaffolding. It looks awesome.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. Why was this really good effect diminished by being a quick cut? Is it because it's too graphic? Do you think like the MPAA was like, no, this is too
Yeah.
graphic. You can't show it for that long.
I was going to ask you the same thing. And that was going to be my hunch, was that it was too real looking. I mean, again, I can't say that enough. Like, it looks really realistic and awesome, but it's a little too real. I suspect it was like they needed to not show it really for a long time because of like a rating or something.
Probably. So Robert Ginty wins. And while the movie is 90 minutes, it is like 7 minutes of credits. It actually ends on the 82nd minute, and then it cuts to the credits.
Yep. Which is, yeah, like you said, really long credits. And it's over kind of a cool shot where we see Ginty kind of in silhouette walking away from the camera down like a tunnel or something.
And he's like stripping himself of the executioner garb.
Yeah, he's dropping off the costume, the flamethrower, the mask, and all that stuff, and he's kind of like walks away from the camera into the light. It's kind of a cool shot, but yeah, it again, even the credits, the way it just feels more filler, like they stretched it out as long as they could.
And then that's the Executioner 2 or Exterminator 2. Executioner.
The Executioner.
Exterminator 2. I mean, what did you think? What did you think of this one?
I just like reiterate what I said at the beginning. I was entertained the entire way through, but I think where this one made better strides in terms of production value, like we got more flamethrower kills, we got more fire effects, pyrotechnics in general. But I think it made strides there, but like took two steps back in terms of there being just so much fluff. And like you said, we in the first Exterminator, we could tell like there was more story elements there that they probably filmed but cut to keep it moving fast. Whereas like this movie had the opposite effect, where like they didn't have enough and they were stretching what they did have out. And I think that's kind of like I said, it's kind of a one step forward, two steps back. So I mean, I think for me, I think I'd give the other one like a 3.5 or a 4. I think I would probably give this one about the same, a 3.5 or a 4.
I'm gonna give
Still
this one a 3.5. I think it is a better film because it actually makes logical sense throughout the entire thing. But yeah, despite it being an 82-minute movie, there's parts of it where I'm like, well, why is this so boring at this point?
Yeah.
Like, why are we
in the middle?
Why are we seeing another breakdance scene?
Yeah, we get two of them. I mean, I think that's really what it was. It was all the stuff in the middle after the first couple of action scenes, and where we see all those like him building the relationship with the woman, and then her her recuperating afterwards. It really drags in the middle. I think that's what kind of that's what makes it not like absolutely better than the first one for me.
So, are you ready for some extra? I keep wanting to say executioner.
I don't know why. He's executing people. I think that's fair.
some Exterminator 2 trivia.
Yes, please. Tell me.
So, uh, the original script for the movie is very different from what we got to see. A lot of the original scenes were removed, and new scenes, not
Nude
nude
scenes.
scenes.
A.
The new scenes were made, and you can kind of tell throughout the movie from what I'm seeing here. Specifically, the girlfriend character, when Robert Ginty and her meet up, she's wearing an outfit, and then they meet again, right, a little bit later in the film. But when we see those two going home with each other, she's in the outfit from the first night. So there's like scenes that they had to reuse and restructure.
I didn't even notice. Wow, that's bad. That's a bad continuity error.
Robert Ginty couldn't return for a lot of the reshoots. So anytime that John is wearing the fireproof mask, it's his stunt double.
So we were right.
We were right.
Oh my God. Did you know that while we were talking?
I didn't read this part.
Oh my God. Wow. Good job, Greg and Phil. Way to spot a stunt double when we see one.
Originally, the only scene where John used a flamethrower to kill the gang members was in the ending when he burns the last few after he already killed most of the others from the weapons with the garbage truck. So a double was used for the scenes where you never saw his face. The most obvious scene is when he phones Caroline and then runs to her home to find her dead. Really? That wasn't him in the phone booth? What the fuck?
We got that quick cut of him like running upstairs, I think, too. But I guess it was shot from above, so it could have been anyone with that hair color. But
I have the movie right here in front of me. I want to rewind it to the phone booth.
To that spot. I mean, that's kind of shocking because what we really just heard there with that bit of trivia is all of the best parts of this movie. Ginty was not in.
Yeah.
He was in the shitty parts where we got breakdancing and like random hot dog stand nonsense. I mean, that's bad. Poor Ginty.
That is bad. And it makes me want to know like what the original film was like.
It was, well, geez, that's a good point. Like not only was he not in the good parts, he was in the bad parts, but that would make this movie all filler in its original cut.
That's insane.
It was all the bad stuff, and then they had to go back to do research to put the good shit in. Wow, that actually makes me want to deduct half a star just for knowing that much about how it was made.
So yeah, I'm looking at the scene right now. You don't see Robert Ginty's face, and that is not his hair. That hair is way nicer. And anytime they do a close up in quotes of the phone booth, the chrome is all smudged up so you can't see Robert Ginty's face in the reflection.
Yikes.
Oh my God. And that's why we don't see him discovering the dead body, because the Gint isn't there. And the entire time that he's redoing the garbage truck, even when he's not using the torch, he's wearing the mask.
Yeah, because he wears that welder's mask through basically every single action scene.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Jeez, what could Ginty possibly have been doing?
I have no idea. It's not like I wouldn't say that Robert Ginty was in high demand.
Yeah, really.
Right?
Maybe he was just like on vacation and they didn't have a phone number for him. They just couldn't reach him.
He did have a TV movie and another one called Warrior of the Lost World come out in the same. Oh, you know what? Hawaiian Heat. He was doing a TV series. He actually had a TV series.
So maybe he was just legitimately tied up with another project.
That's insane, though, to think that Robert Ginty was in so high demand that he couldn't go back to do reshoots for
a feature film he was starring in.
Exactly.
I feel like isn't that part of actors' contracts nowadays? Is like you have to come back for reshoots if we need you.
Yeah,
like within some certain percentage or some amount of time. I would imagine.
That's
for just,
weird.
Cases like that where your star is not available for key plot points like discovering the dead body of your girlfriend and as like the inciting incident for the final battle.
That's so crazy. And then yeah, so it says here Exterminator 2 had a very troubled production, which include budget problems, heavy re-editing and reshoots, and censorship. Canon wasn't pleased
Mm.
with the original cut, so they brought in someone else named William Sachs to do extensive reshoots. Let's see here. Sachs talks about the reshoots and goes, Bob Ginty was supposed to be doing another movie and they wouldn't release him. I said, I'll fix it so you don't need him. I couldn't get any other star, so that's where I came up with the idea. There's one shot of Ginty with a welding mask working on the garbage truck. He lifts the mask up and has a little torch. So I just used that shot at the end. I turned him into a vigilante with a welding mask for the whole rest of the movie.
Wow. This entire movie was constructed in the editing room.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously that's the case for every film, but like the core plot, they just completely threw out and reconstructed from whatever shit that they had. Jeez,
Let's
wow.
Sachs also mentioned that the production's initial struggles were probably due to Buntsman's inexperience handling a large film crew. William Sachs says, I was in New York just to watch, and I saw what was going wrong. If you can't make a decision, everyone starts giving their 2 cents until it's a committee. Mark Buntsman couldn't make a certain decision, so the script supervisor had an idea, and the DP had an idea. And soon there was a meeting going on, a directing lesson. If someone asks, where do I point the camera? You just point. The first thing that comes into your head, you just say there. So I guess it looks maybe that's why the director never really did
Mm,
anything else, because he just didn't have the experience to do it.
yeah, he mismanaged this one badly enough that they just didn't want him back.
And then it says in post production, the MPAA made Sachs cut down an early gory scene in which an elderly couple is shot up by the gang.
What? That was cut. That was the cut down version that we saw.
Yeah, I'm not really excited about violent stuff. When you're shooting it, it's fun, but then something a little more realistic affects people. When we shot the scene, the DP said it was the most realistic thing he ever saw. The squib and the gun went off at the same frame. It was timed perfectly by luck, and you don't usually see that. We had 6 shots and ended up with a quick shot.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, it. I can definitely see what they're saying because that was an extremely shocking bit of gun violence in the beginning there, and it looked. I mean, yeah, the it looked great from like a practical effects standpoint, but I'm shocked to hear that would there may be a more violent, a more horrible version of that scene lying on a cutting room floor somewhere.
Because that scene was pretty violent and pretty shocking.
Yeah, like we got those really well timed squibs. I mean, maybe we only saw the old lady get shot the one time in the abdomen. Maybe they did the same thing that they did to the guy to her in the other footage where they just unload a clip into her when she's on the ground, and that was like, okay, that's too far. Cut that part.
That's
I guess I
interesting.
don't know. Wow, this Exterminator 2, you were like a nasty, stinky onion.
So the original ending in a rough cut of the movie was different from the one that we saw and used in the final version. Instead of a chase scene between John and X in a factory, both of them confront each other after John kills all of X's gang members and they get into
Mhm.
a fight. X almost kills John, but Carolyn shows up in her wheelchair. She didn't die in the original version and shoots
Oh.
X, wounding him. When the police show up, John puts X in the garbage truck and a chase starts between him and the police. The chase ends with John crashing the garbage truck into the river and X's body floating out of it. What the fuck?
That ugh. I'm glad they changed that. I mean, I kind of like the idea of Ginty's vigilanteism catching up with him, where he's got to run from the cops with the bad guy in tow. But
It'd be so cheesy for the girlfriend to show up. That
yeah,
means that
that
she
part.
wheeled herself all the way there to
Front,
shoot.
yeah. Like, did she take a cab or something? I mean, how did she get there?
Yeah. And then it says here Mario Van Peebles came up with all the costume ideas that he wore in the film.
Of course he did. Well done, Mario. Those were very, very comical, very costumey, but they look cool.
Well, that's a lot to take in.
Yeah, that really changes perception. I'm from what I've just heard, I'm inclined to both deduct half a star for what we could have gotten almost, but I have to give credit to that editor and the director that they brought in to like salvage what they could from this steaming pile of crap.
I'm surprised that it turned out as well
Yeah,
after
right.
reading all of that.
As good
That
as it did, yeah.
shocking, to say the least.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that just goes to show like that's they whoever they brought in to do the reshoots knew what the audience was hungry for when they come to see Exterminator 2. They want to see the explosions, they want to see the pyrotechnics, the set pieces, the big fights, all that good stuff, and that's what they added. And that's what we love about this one. So
yeah,
kudos to that guy.
well, I know you've already said it, but let's hear that quote of the week again.
Let's take us back to the drug deal scene. We've got Mario Van Peebles staring down the mob boss in one of his stupid like tire rubber costumes, and the mob boss says, "You street boys really have grown up." And Mario Van Peebles says, "I am the streets."
You street boys have really grown up. I am the streets. If you say so. Just so long as the streets stay in Harlem.
Next, I take over the city.
I am the streets. I could picture Stallone saying that.
Wouldn't it have been cool to have like a Judge Dredd villain who like says that as his catchphrase? I am the law and I am the streets.
Yeah, that would work in that movie.
That would have been cool.
It's just something about Mario Van Peebles saying that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
just too handsome a guy to be believable as a scary cult leader, I guess. I
100%. Yeah, not believable at all.
Womp womp.
Are you ready to keep the break-in connections going though?
Yes.
Because Lucinda Dickey, star of Break-In in Break-In 2, is the star of our next film. Ninja 3.
Are we finally here?
The Domination.
Woo! Yes.
Sho Kisuji and Lucinda Dickey star the 1984 martial arts action horror film. It's 3 different genres.
Wow. What more could you ask for?
Directed by Sam Furstenberg, who directed Break-In 2, Revenge of the Ninja, and he will direct a couple other canon classics such as American Ninja.
Yes.
I think this is one of the more popular canon movies because of how crazy
bonkers it is. Yeah. I haven't seen it. I know we've watched a couple YouTubers. I think Red Letter Media did included this in one of their episodes, but
yes,
I think you're right. It's one of those, it's on that pedestal of the classic bonkers, batshit insane, but hilariously awesome canon movies, up there with all the Death Wish sequels and all the Chuck Norris movies and Bloodsport. It's I can't wait. I'm so happy that we're finally got here.
I think you're gonna be really happy because the next film is a Chuck Norris film.
Yes.
So, and this one is on Amazon Prime, available to stream, freemium.
Awesome.
So there's no need to hunt down a copy in the dark recesses of the internet.
Yes. No scary Daily Motion nonsense.
Yeah,
exactly. we got that. We got the legit. Well, hopefully it's I mean, this one I think probably like a lot of the more popular canon movies got a nice HD transfer at some point. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's shocking to think that movies like Ninja 3 The Domination have had multiple Blu-ray releases.
Oh yeah, we're living in a golden age of quality HD, if not 4K transfers of just weird bottom of the barrel action horror. Some cases like pornographic movies from the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
Like look at all the stuff that Vinegar Syndrome's putting out. It's like I said, we're living in a golden age of this kind of sleaze, and I like it. I like it a lot.
Same here. Well, if you like what you're hearing, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. It's right in front of you. Just do it.
Just do it.
And leave us a review. Send us an email too. You can email us at that'scanon@gmail.com. You can follow us on YouTube at That's Canon. We have multiple places that you can reach out to us. Give us some constructive criticism. How can we make this podcast more enjoyable to you? And ask us some questions. We will read anything that you write.
Anything.
I will read the hate mail at a past episode that we got. I wouldn't say hate mail, but I read what Catherine Mary Stewart said about us.
Oh,
So don't worry, I will read anything that you say. That's the canon promise.
That's a canon promise.
And remember, since we said it,
That's canon.